What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to tonight's show. I'm Craig, the host here on Anfield Agenda, and I'm going to take you through what we have, which is a packed news show for you tonight. We're going to be talking about Mohamed Salah. We're going to be talking about potential Genie replacements. We're going to have a little look ahead maybe to the game against Villa, but it's going to be an absolutely jam-packed show. So don't go anywhere. Don't put the kettle on. Sit yourselves down, strap yourselves in, and let's have a little bit of fun ahead of a difficult game coming up against Villa at the weekend. I'm going to take you through what I've read and my thought process, and look, we will get to the Mohamed Salah stuff, so just wait a few minutes for me, because people are going to come into the chat and are going to be a little bit late. But there are a few rumours doing the rounds, and I wanted to just have a little say on something, by the way. The amount of lazy journalism that I'm being seeing over the past couple of weeks is absolutely astronomical. I think that some of these sites just have a name of players that they just put into a hat, pull out, and we talked about this lad last year, let's bring him back again. The amount of players year after year that we keep seeing linked with Liverpool for lazy clicks, it's just embarrassing. I've seen them over and over again, and we're all getting fed up of it. We're not idiots. Don't take us for fools. We know who the club may or may not be interested in, but stop dragging up ghosts from the past just to try and get some clicks on your damn websites. Put a bit of effort in like everybody else has to, and stop just trying the nonsense to get people across, because there are people out there putting in good shifts, but my God, some of the links that I've seen lately, it's like LFC transfer bingo at this point, ladies and gentlemen. It's quite frankly embarrassing to the good journalists out there, the James Pearces, the Melissa Reddys, anybody at The Athletic basically, and lots of other good establishments that put in the hard work, put in the hard yards. It does my head in every single day, and we're being asked about them. Is this player going to be linked? How many times has Dybala been linked to Liverpool? How many times has Mondi now from Real Betis been linked to Liverpool? How many times has Ergukan Kikir been linked to Liverpool? Every single window for the past 2 or 3, same names over and over again. Give it a rest. I mean, just put out, insert Liverpool name here, gossip, transfer gossip, come click, and might probably have the same effect, because I don't know how people fall for some of the nonsense. I really don't. What do we got? I'm studying journalism. I'm not lazy, said Cave. I never said you were lazy. I think you were replying to somebody else, but welcome in, fella. I'm good, thank you, Liverpool fan. Pity we couldn't swap Salah for Haaland. Look, I want to have a chat around Mohamed Salah, ladies and gentlemen, because it's starting to annoy me a little bit. Now, of course, whenever you mention the name Mohamed Salah, automatically the Mohamed Salah fanboys, for want of a better word, because we all love Mo. You will not find a Liverpool supporter that does not love Mohamed Salah, but apparently we're unable to have a conversation around Mohamed Salah without triggering some type of backlash about some anti-Salah agenda nonsense. It's not the case. We all love Mo. But we're also fed up of reading these little snippets like Mohamed Salah doesn't rule out moving to La Liga. Mohamed Salah, Eurosport today as an example, had an article out saying that they believe Mohamed Salah wants to move away from Liverpool or is eyeing a move to Real Madrid over the summer. Here's where I am with this, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same as I am with any single player that plays for this football club. If you do not want to be at Liverpool Football Club, leave. It is that simple in my eyes. You should be honoured to play for this football club. Mohamed Salah has been absolutely amazing. We've been so graced to see him play the game. But this stuff that's starting to come out now, you ask yourself, it's either one or two things. He genuinely may want to move away from the club, or he's looking for an improved contract, because it is coming to the time where we need to sit down with him to negotiate, because he'll have 2 years left on his current deal at the end of this season, and you can't let a player of Mohamed Salah's calibre contract run down any more than that. Look at what's happening right now with Paris Saint-Germain and Kylian Mbappe. They know they're going to have to lose him this summer if he doesn't sign, and they're not going to get his true value. So this is where we have to have a grown-up conversation around Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, players like that, and look, how can we rebuild? Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, and you know I always give you the God's honest truth. I was thinking about this long and hard this afternoon, and I've come to the conclusion that if the opportunity arose that Real Madrid came in for Mohamed Salah, I would sell him. And here's why I would sell him. I would sell him because he could basically fund the move for Kylian Mbappe. Now, I know you're going to get on to me about his wages, and you're right, but Mohamed Salah is our highest paid player. So let's say he's on 220k a week. Kylian Mbappe is probably going to want 600 or 700 grand. So the numbers don't add up in that way. But maybe we could see something with Nike. maybe we could do something in regards to his shirt sales or his image rights, something to help boost up that income. And that's the only way we'll be able to afford somebody like a Haaland or an Mbappe. And I don't believe Mbappe is really going to be on the table for Liverpool, if I'm being honest. I think his future lies elsewhere. But Kylian Mbappe does respect and like Jurgen Klopp. Kylian Mbappe does like Liverpool Football Club. And I know it's absurd. I know it's ridiculous. But ask yourself this. If we are, or if Mohamed Salah wants to move on, never mind us wanting to move him on, because I've no doubt the club would sign him up to a new contract in a heartbeat. We all love him. We all want him to stay. But if there's any murmurings, if there's any doubt in that gentleman's mind that he doesn't want to be here, and I could be completely wrong here, Mohamed Salah could have every intention of signing a new contract, and I'll be as happy as anybody else. But you look at it, you look at our front three, you look at the value of them. He is the one that would bring us the most money. He is the one that is the biggest name around the world. He is the one that would perhaps attract the likes of Real Madrid to maybe open their piggy bank, stretch themselves to bring him in. And that's the only way we could perhaps afford an Mbappe. And I'm going to be blunt. If you offered me Mbappe for Salah right now, I'd take it in a heartbeat. I've been saying it for a long time. He's the only player that I would sell Mohamed Salah for, because Kylian Mbappe is absolutely sensational. And we could probably bring in close to what it would cost us to buy Kylian Mbappe if Mohamed Salah chose to move on. If Mo wants to stay, sign him up, get the deal done, happy days. But if there's any murmurings, or if there's any doubts or delays about him wanting to sign a contract, or if he looks like he's going to try and run it down, try and cash in. That is my honest opinion, because you don't get opportunities to buy Kylian Mbappe like you have this summer. Look at it from a perspective. What's an FSG's typical type of signing? They like to buy a player who's undervalued at the moment, and which Kylian Mbappe is, because his real market value is probably at least twice what he'll go for. They like to buy players that stay 3, 4, 5 years and can still be flipped on at a profit. Again, fits in perfectly with the FSG philosophy. The only real stumbling block is, of course, the wages. And it is a massive stumbling block. And it's not something that we can easily sort out. But with the cash injection that FSG have had with selling 10% to Red Ball acquisition, with LeBron James coming on board, with his connections with Nike, you just never know. And the only way it could be possible is to sell one of the front three. And I've heard nothing from Sadio Mane's side saying that he wants to leave. I've heard nothing from Roberto Firmino's side saying that he wants to leave. But we have heard little bits and pieces. And it's been going on a while now with Mohamed Salah. And that's okay. I've nothing against Mohamed Salah. A footballer's career is very short. If a footballer, like Genie or anyone else, if a footballer decides that they want to move and have another chapter in the career, they're fully entitled to do that. But Mohamed Salah is a very respectful and genuine and honest, humble human being. I think he would have an open and honest conversation with the club and the manager. And if he wants to move on, I believe he'll say it honestly and openly, and it'll all be dealt with fairly, because he deserves that respect. The club deserves that respect. But let's be frank here. We've got to be honest about it. We can't get to a situation where we're selling Salah maybe at the end of the summer because he's kicking up a little bit of a fuss, or because Madrid come in late and Mbappe's pissed off elsewhere, or somebody else that the club might have wanted. We've got to do this, and we've got to have a grown-up conversation about it. It's difficult. It's difficult because it triggers people, I know. It annoys me because I'd love to just add Mbappe in and keep everyone. But this club is run in a particular way by our owners. It's a sustainable way, and it's a way that has gotten us a Premier League, a Champions League, a Super Cup and a Club World Cup, the best manager in the world, a new stand, a new Annie Road end coming up, a new training ground, and lots of other bits and pieces. So, it's the wages. Now, that's a huge stumbling block. It's easy for me to sit here and do the basic numbers, but there's so much stuff that mere mortals like you and I don't understand when it comes to transfers, fees, agents' fees, VAT, loads of other stuff, intermediaries on top of that, image rights, so many difficult things that we just don't understand. But where there's a will, there's a way. And I bring you back to what I spoke to you guys about before. When Kylian Mbappe was making his move from Monaco, eventually to Paris Saint-Germain, but at the time he was leaving Monaco, John W. Henry flew Kylian Mbappe and his family around on his private jet for an hour or two to try and convince him to make the move to Liverpool. The interest has always been there. The worldwide marketing appeal would be there. The Jerry Cardinal interest would help. Jerry Cardinal is an expert at marketing football players and dealing with image rights. LeBron and the Nike crossover. There's so many things that could potentially make it happen. But in order for it to happen, to fund the deal, it would have to include the sale of one of the front three. And the only reason I bring Mo up is because he's the name that keeps being put out in the media recently. He's the one that keeps talking about, or maybe it's lazy old journalism, but maybe one day I'll play in La Liga. And I said to you guys, you can watch streams from 6 months ago, a year ago. I've always said, if one of our front three is to move on, I've always had the feeling that it may be Mo. Because I feel that Mohamed Salah, Mohamed Salah, the ambassador for his continent, for his country, for his religion, the wonderful person that he is, may want to try another league. And that's okay. We don't have to get angry about it. Stuff like this happens. We're Liverpool fans. There is a new generation of football fans that are more fans of a particular player. That's something that we older people like myself are going to have to get used to. We grew up, our loyalty is to the badge. Players will come and go, but we'll always adore the club and we'll appreciate the players while they're here. There are different forms of fans now that are Neymar fans, that are Messi fans, that are Salah fans, that are Bruno fans, whoever they are, but they have players that they follow. And that's okay as well. Everyone can support football, watch football in their own way. But what I don't like is when we have these type of conversations and people go on the defensive and assume that there's some anti-Mohamed Salah agenda at the club. There isn't. He's called the Egyptian king because we love him. We idolise him. But we're also realists. And we want the club to be in the best financial footing and the best position on the pitch moving forward. And if it means Mo and Klopp or Mo and his representatives talk about a potential move away, so be it. We've lost players before. We'll bring in new players again. That's how I wanted to talk about tonight's show, folks. That's where I wanted to start with. Because I just want to get it out there. I just want to get it said. Because I'm fed up pussyfooting around with it. And I'm fed up with not having a grown-up conversation. Let's be real. We're not going to go and sign Mbappe without flogging someone. It's just the way of the world, unfortunately. The way our clubs run. So I'll hand it over to you guys for a minute. See what you think. And again, nobody wants to lose anybody. We love Mohamed Salah before I get absolutely slaughtered by Mohamed Salah's very loyal legion of fans. I'm one of them. I love the man. But if he wants to move, it's a perfect storm. It's a perfect storm to go and get Kylian Mbappe. Because Real Madrid, if they were to get Salah, wouldn't be able to afford Mbappe. Wouldn't be able to afford Haaland. They only have so much money unless they start moving a load of players on, which I don't think they will, because they've got the likes of Vinicius Jr. and some good young players coming up, Asensio and many others. So it's now or never. It's shit or get off the pot. It's full duck or no dinner when it comes to Kylian Mbappe. This is the summer. If Liverpool have real ambitions, really want to put this club in a place moving forward for the next 5, 6, 7 years, we can do it. But it will take an awful lot of guts. It will take an awful lot of persuasion, maybe, from Mr. Edwards. But it can be done. How they make the financials add up on the wages side, that I don't know. That I have to be honest about and say I just don't know. Ross said, alright mate, long time, no super chat, hope all is well. Thank you Ross, I'm doing really good, thank you mate. Again, no, I'm sorry Craig, Bobby and Mane are for nothing compared to Salah. Top goal scorer in the league, we'd be stuck in the mud. So, again, K-Dot, and I appreciate your opinion. Right, you're talking about Bobby, Mane. We can absolutely have a conversation about the possibility of those lads moving on. No problem about that, mate, but can you honestly, hand on heart, say to me that if we lost Mohamed Salah and brought in Kylian Mbappe, you'd feel like we've lost out? Really? Because I wouldn't. Did you see him last night? Have you seen Kylian Mbappe? Have you seen what he's turning into? He is what Mohamed Salah was, in my opinion. Yes, Mohamed Salah is our top goal scorer. And he's probably our most reliable person in front of goal. No doubt about it. But he's not the Mohamed Salah that we signed. He's not the Mohamed Salah that used to take on and fly past people. He's not the Mohamed Salah that used to cut inside all the time and bury the ball. To me, he looks like he's lost half a yard of pace. He may have improved other aspects of his game. He doesn't track back as much as I'd like to see. He doesn't offer as much protection to Trent as I'd like to see. So there are reasons, mate. And again, I bring up Salah because it's always his name in the media. It's always his name recently linked with a move to Spain, or his representatives talking about it. Now it may well be just to try and get a better deal for him, and I hope it is because nobody wants him to leave. But I live in the real world, mate. You want to sell Bobby Firmino? Fair enough. The price being quoted was around 55 million. That ain't going to get you an Mbappe. You want to sell Sadio Mane? Why? Because he's not doing well. Okay, if he's not doing well this season, then we're not going to get top dollar for him, are we? There are these sides to look at as well, mate. I mean, as much as we think move this player on, move that player on, who's the most valuable? Who's the most valuable asset at the club right now? It's Mohamed Salah. That's why I'm talking about it, mate. And I know it's a difficult conversation, and you are right. You could make arguments, absolutely, for Mohamed or for Sadio Mane or Bobby Firmino. I don't disagree with you on that. There's only one side in this league players will go to, Man City. Yes, mate, that's it, Kerry. There's only one team players will go to, Man City. Yeah, that's it. That's why all the top players in the world have gone to Man City. All of them. Like, no other good players play in the league. They've all went to Manchester City for their mercenary money. Why would Salah leave to Madrid from Liverpool? What is he doing? Again, we've got to respect that sometimes these players have short careers. Players have brands. Players have things they want to achieve. Mohamed Salah has played in Italy. He's won the Premier League. He's won the European Cup. Won the Club World Cup. He's represented his country at the World Cup. Maybe he just might feel like there's another chapter. Maybe Sadio feels that way. I don't know. I will never disrespect a player for looking to get the most out of their career, because it is a relatively short career that these guys have. And maybe himself and his family fancy another cultural experience. I don't know. I'm just want an open conversation around it. Origi, Shaqiri, Minamino, leave it. Well, look, yeah, there are definite players we're going to try and move on. Origi, Shaqiri, Grujic, Wilson. They're all players that Liverpool are willing to sell. Gini will leave, we know that. There are certain players that are no-brainers. But I'm talking about if we're to look at really going and getting somebody that will really push us on, that will really push us back into the limelight, that will really set us up for the next 5-6 years. Mohamed Salah was an incredible piece of business from Liverpool Football Club. Obviously, Klopp, if you remember back to the time, actually, Klopp said he was pestered. He was told over and over again, go for Salah, go for Salah, go for Salah, by his coaching staff, his recruitment staff, and they were right. They got it spot on. But can anybody really say that we've seen the same Mo? Can anybody really say that we've seen that absolute lightning bolt that used to just counter-attack at 1,000,000 miles an hour? Because I honestly don't think so. He has, as I've said before, slightly reinvented his game. And that's not unusual. Players do it. Ronaldo did it. Messi did it. The greats do it. Salah is one of the greats. They reinvent their game and they score goals. But we also need a different dimension to our attack. I love a person who gets the ball at his feet and runs at defenders. It's why I love Mbappe so much. It's why I loved Salah so much when he was here. It's why I love so many players of that ilk. I just love people who get the ball down and run at defenders, and it makes them shit themselves. You look at Manchester United, Rashford gets so many penalties because of his speed, his fleet of foot. Same with Raheem Sterling. Same with other players around the leagues. We lack that at the minute. I don't know why, but, and I include Mane in this, they seem to have lost a half yard or something. I don't know what it is. What have we got? Hey ladies and gents, what did I miss so far? Nothing's been a relatively quiet one so far, mate. No players bigger than the club. Again, true, but I'm not having a go at Mohamed Salah here. I love Mohamed Salah. I just want to have this open conversation because there's too much pussyfooting around over it. Mane has had 3 bad months. I don't disagree with you, mate. And he's the worst player ever. That's bullshit of the highest order. And then these little plastics think when he comes back to form, he's suddenly one of the best in the world. They know nothing. Well, you've just called him the worst player ever, my friend. So I would put it to you that you know SFA, my friend. So if you're going to put down other people's opinions, try and back it up with some form of realism, mate, other than he's the worst player ever. Because that is massively disrespectful to both Sadio Mane, the footballer, his national team, and anybody he's ever played for. Because Sadio Mane is one hell of a footballer, mate. And you're right, he has had a poor few months. But that comment's absolute pony, mate. I'm sorry. Sorry, I just got to remove you because just even the look of your name is annoying me now. We should have just got Hazard then. Yeah, he's a complete, absolute... Like, don't even get me started on Hazard, actually. There's a video coming out about unpopular opinions that I filmed for the channel, which Hazard is covered in. If Salah were to go, where do you think he would go? It's funny, Henry. You've probably heard me say this before, mate, on the channel. I always, and I don't know if anybody else thinks this, but there's some players you can see in certain jerseys. Like, I look at Gini Wijnaldum. I could see him in an Inter shirt, I could see him in a Barca shirt, but I couldn't see him in a Madrid shirt. I look at Mohamed Salah, and I could see him in a Madrid shirt, but I couldn't see him in a Barcelona shirt. Does that make sense? Like, I know that probably sounds weird, but there's just, like I've always said, I've always got vibes of Harry Kane ending up at Manchester United for some reason. It's just little weird things that make no sense, but I don't know if anybody else ever thinks that way, that certain players, you can just imagine them in one shirt and not another shirt. Mane's a better all-round player than Salah. I like Salah, but he's too greedy. I don't like the arguments that anyone's greedy. I mean, forwards are inherently greedy. Whether you look at Salah, whether you look at Mane, they're both greedy because they've got to be greedy. They both should do certain things that they don't, and they both take on things because they back themselves. And that's what you want. You also want that confidence in a forward. So I don't like the greedy argument. There was one instance actually with Mane that he should have laid it off to Salah in the 85th minute against Real Madrid that I would class as greedy and was screaming at the time. Maybe not greedy, but more poor decision making. What's pretty weird? Explain to me what's pretty weird, Rabbit. I really would like to know. About the jerseys. If it's about the jerseys, yeah, it is probably a weird comment, mate. Do you think Nico will leave? Yeah, it's another conversation I'll come to in a second, actually, around the summer and the right back. So Tom, I will get to that in a second, mate. And thank you, Tom Jenkins, for the question. Do you think we can beat Real Madrid? It's going to be difficult, but, you know, the time we had the comeback against Barcelona, you know, we were without Salah, we were without Firmino, but we did have fans. I think that, to us, energises the players. And it's what worries me more about the second leg, because potentially, if we are absolutely at our best, yes, we could do it. But the lack of fans, I think, will really hinder us. And Real Madrid played very well in the first leg. They man-marked Fabinho out of the game. We gave Toni Kroos far too much time. And, you know, I said a simple ball over the top and it annoyed some Madrid fans. But I meant that from a defensive perspective because it was a simple ball to defend. But it was an excellent piece of play by Toni Kroos to pick him out. You know, you look at these things from two sides. You look at it from a defensive side for us because we're Liverpool fans. And you look at it from an attacking side then for Madrid. And the ball over the top from Kroos to Vinicius Jr. was exquisite, as was the finish. But from a defensive point of view, it was very easy to solve that equation. Better starting positions and, you know, reading potential play better. But it's not just the defence's fault. Kroos was given far too much time, should have been closed down, should have had more pressure on him. So, again, to any Madrid fans that may have been watching or picked up wrong on that, I was only talking about from a defensive perspective because no doubt the ball over the top was world class. As I said, you can't give people with Kroos' ability that much time. Hey Craig, love the video. Thank you, Taran. Staying optimistic for a comeback against Madrid. You've got to be optimistic, Cedric, mate. That's our joy as fans, isn't it? If you can't dream, you can't believe, you don't back the boys, then we might as well pack it up. So it ain't going to be easy. Madrid are no mugs. They're 13-time European champions. But are we capable of it? Yes. But it's up to the players to go out there and put right what they didn't do in the first leg and hopefully produce a result. But we'll have to wait and see. We've got a game against Villa to get past first of the weekend. I'm going to be over, ladies and gentlemen, at 7:45, by the way, on Mundo Sporto tonight, which is our other channel, doing a watch-along of Granada's game against Manchester United. So when I finish up here, hope you can join me over there for that one. Connor will put a link to the top of the chat. I'll be heading straight over there and doing a watch-along of that game. And I also filmed the Aston Villa predicted 11 and score prediction video a little bit earlier on. So that'll be going out tomorrow as well. So keep an eye out for that one and make sure you've got your notifications turned on. Right, a couple more comments and then we'll get to the right back situation, because I did promise that gentleman a second ago that I'd get back to talk about Mo, or excuse me, to talk about Trent. I'm Mo obsessed at the minute. It's so difficult, isn't it, to talk about Mo? If you agree with me on this, by the way, if you agree with me that it's a conversation that should be had, give me a thumbs up in the chat. And it's no disrespect to Mo, because I love Mo. We all love him. We give him the name the Egyptian King because he's been so damn good. But I just want to know if people are realistic and think that with the little bits and pieces that are coming out, with the Eurosport article today and other articles saying that he could potentially play in La Liga, I just want to know what people are thinking about it. So if you're watching this back later on, love to know your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure if we win 2-0 we'll go through on away goals. That is correct. That's why the away goal was so important, by the way. That's why I was saying in that game against Real Madrid, I know we lost at 3-1, but I'd much rather have lost at 3-1 than 2-0. Because losing at 3-1 means that, you know, we can win 2-0 and go through. Or if Madrid score, we match that score, we can go to extra time. But if we lost 2-0 and Madrid scored 1 at Anfield, we had to score 4. So the away goal was big. I just want this season to end, said James O'Driscoll. I said that to me mate the other night. I said, God, this has been such an up and down season. I just want it to end. I want the Euros to be over. I want Van Dijk back. I want Hendo back. I want Gomez back. And I want a fresh start and a ready to go next season. Mbappe not signing a new contract. I never thought he would, Dara, to be honest with you. I mean, he is the standout player in that PSG team. And look, yes, Neymar is a good footballer as well. I mean, I have my own thoughts on Neymar's prancing and rolling around. But as a footballer, he has ability, absolutely. But Mbappe is special. He really is special. How do I feel about the Canade deal falling through? That it hasn't fallen through. Like, don't believe everything that's in the media. I mean, if you're, I don't know which article you're talking about, but if you're talking about the representative from Leipzig coming out and saying that he phoned and contacted Liverpool to ask about interest, and Liverpool said no interest, I wouldn't take that too lightly. As I said, I do have a contact that knows David Ornstein, who broke the original story rather well. I say contact, it's Steve Bland, he's on our podcast. He worked at the BBC with David Ornstein previously. And David Ornstein said that the interest is entirely genuine. Now, doesn't mean it's nailed on that we'll sign him, but what I want to say is that we don't have to tell Leipzig if we've any interest. All we have to do is go in, meet the release clause, and there's nothing that they can do about it. And also with regards to Leipzig, you know, he's 1 year left on his contract at the end of this season. They're going to have to sell him if he won't sign a new deal. So there is rumoured interest, by the way, in Canade from Manchester United as well. So that's something that we should keep an eye on, and something that may potentially be true, because United could be looking for a centre-back themselves. So I wouldn't rule that interest out, because at the price tag that you can get Canade for, it's pretty much a bargain, to be honest with you. But I wouldn't go as far as to say that the deal's fallen through, mate. Not from anything that I've seen anyway. But you will get ups and downs. You will get people who believe, you know, everything that they read, or, you know, either way, I mean, in a positive or a negative. Daka would be a great signing, Sean. I'd have no problem with Daka. Kabak, yeah, I agree. We should sign Kabak one way or the other. Canade, absolutely agree with you on that one. Odegaard would, all those players there, mate. If all of them came to Liverpool in the summer and we kept the front four, no problem. I'd have no problem with that, Sean. That to me will be a summer where we've improved the squad. So I think, yeah, no problem with any of those players, mate. The only one I'd perhaps question a bit is, I wouldn't, you know, Houssem Aouar or Odegaard. That's the only kind of humming and hawing I'd have there. We also know, by the way, that articles put out recently suggest that Wolves are looking to sell one of Diogo Jota, Adama Traore, or somebody else. I can't remember who the other name was. Did I say Diogo Jota? We've already bought him. Pedro Neto, Adama Traore, and somebody else. They're looking to cash in on one of them this summer, apparently. I can't remember who the third name is for the life of me, but it might be Podence, I'm not sure. What else have we got? Liverpool should go for Militao. I think that move, if we were going to do that move, it should have been done before he left Porto and went to Madrid. Craig, do you think Salah is enough money for Kylian? I don't think so, no offence. I would value Salah in this market at about £100 million. In a market, like in a non-COVID world where football finances are a bit better, are a bit better, probably a little bit more. But I would say you get 100 million. Now, you probably have to throw £100 million is about what, 115 million euro, and I'd say it would probably cost somewhere between 120 and 150 million euro to get Kylian Mbappe this summer, because he holds the cards in that negotiation with PSG. Don't make any bones about it. It's incomprehensible that they let him leave on a free. So, you know, they'll have to take a reasonable free for him. Now, he might make up all the money, you're right, mate, but, you know, if we moved on some of the players I spoke about, the Origis, the Shakiris, the Grujics, the Harry Wilsons, you know, you start to free up wages and you start to bring in a few quid extra as well there. So I would agree with you that there probably would need to be money on top. And that's before we discuss the astronomical wages that I touched on earlier on. Mbappe would cost more because of age. He's got 1 year left on his contract. 1 year. I keep repeating this. I don't know if everybody's not aware of it, but that's why this is the summer to buy him, because no club's going to let that get to that position again. So if any club out there, whether it be Liverpool, City, Real Madrid, Barcelona, United, anybody who has any interest in signing Mbappe, this is the summer to do it, because no other club is going to let his contract run down to 1 year again. And he's at the right age bracket as well, so there is a deal to be done there for Kylian Mbappe this summer, so that's why I keep going on about it. Now, I'm realistic. I know the wages are a huge stumbling block, but I'm sure maybe Nike could step in and and give him some more image rights, or maybe give him his own range of LFC stuff, something that could help cover some of these costs and give him additional bonuses and stuff like that as well. Maybe LeBron could give him a phone call, I don't know, but I'm sure that there are ways that we can supplement it. Plus, if we were to, as I said earlier on, sell Mo, that would free up 220k a week. And Mo would have been on an improved contract as well, let's not forget. So if we were to sit down with Mo this summer and agree a new deal with him, well, he's not going to agree a new deal on the wages he's on, is he? He's going to want, and rightly so, probably going to want to bump up in wages. So you probably see him go up to 250. So, there is that as well. So you've taken that to 250, you put that towards Mbappe, and then you've still got the other bits and pieces. So you're still quite short. You're still needing probably another 350 a week to figure that out. But, we are dreaming here in some ways. Doug said, evening Craig, can you see some rotation on Saturday against Villa? Yes, and it will be coming out tomorrow, Doug, mate. I've done my team predictions video. I filmed it just before this stream and my score prediction, and Jack caught up with Leon from Boyle Sport, and that video will be out tomorrow afternoon, my man. And yeah, there is a bit of rotation in my team. I don't want to give away any clues, but yeah, I have rotated a couple of players. Are we selling Gini, or is it a contract thing? His contract is up, Dara, at the end of the season, so he's a free agent. He can go wherever he chooses. No, we're not selling him. But there is an offer on the table for Gini from Liverpool, but neither side have budged on it. So Liverpool haven't come in with an improved offer, and Gini hasn't accepted it. So it does look like he will move on at the end of the season, and he should do so with a thank you, a pat on the back from all of us for a job well done. When a player does sign for a club, if he sees out his contract, he's fulfilled everything he's agreed to. So, there shouldn't be any ill feelings towards Gini whatsoever. What happened with Leon's preview? Jack fucked up and scheduled something that shouldn't have been scheduled. That's supposed to be scheduled as a pre-recorded video, and it was pre-recorded afterwards, and it will be out tomorrow, as I just said. So that'll be out tomorrow along with my starting 11 score prediction in one video. It's just, somebody hit the wrong button there when we were setting up a thing that should have been set for pre-recorded, but he set it for a live stream. Honestly, I'd want Salah to stay. He's the best player for the season. If he does go, I'd want 160 million. Look, I've got no idea what way the market will be this summer. What have we got? Dabrowski plays. I've got no idea, mate, what way the market will be with regards to players' value. So it's very difficult to put a value on anyone. And like you, I don't want to lose Salah either. But if we are looking to build ourselves for the next 5, 6, 7 years, and a player like Kylian Mbappe comes available, and Salah and Salah's representatives have been flirting with clubs in Spain, then all I'm saying is, if Mo does want to move on, and it's entirely down to Mo, I'm sure if he wants to sign a new deal, the club will whack that contract on the table quick smart and get him signed up. But if he wants to move on, we can't let it go beyond this summer, because then he'd go down to 18 months on his contract, and that's just stupidity. That puts us in a bad position. So Liverpool will either need to cash in on him this summer or sign him up to a new deal. Now, all of this talk around the Mbappe stuff has been based off the potential of him leaving. That's why I started the conversation. Harry Kane will never play for United, said Jeremy. I don't know if he will or won't be. I've got no idea. I've just said that, I've always envisioned certain players in certain shirts. I don't know. Harry Kane may finish his career at Spurs. He may go to Manchester City. He may go to PSG. He may go to play for Real Madrid. He's good enough to play pretty much anywhere, Jeremy. It's just, a personal thing. I've just seen him in my head and thought I could see him in a United shirt. It's just something in my own head, mate. Do you think Milner will have his contract expired, or will he have one more year? I actually don't know off the top of my head what Jimmy Milner's contract situation is. I think he has another year on his deal, or at least there's an option of another year on his deal. But yeah, let's talk about right backs, as somebody has pointed out to me. I did say I'd do it before we finished up. So it's a very difficult decision, this, isn't it? Because we know that Trent is going through a bit of a difficult patch, but we all still back Trent and know what he's capable of. But there's also a lot of people who think, and rightly so, that Trent could play in midfield. But I think one of the things that's brought the best out of, let's say, Luke Shaw, as an example, at Manchester United this season, was the arrival of another left-back to challenge him. So Nico Williams is still an up-and-coming young player who, could be an excellent player in the future, but it's not really breathing down Trent's neck. When Klein was there, Trent was breaking through right behind Klein, breathing down his neck, over his shoulder, and was ready. We need something similar. So I wonder what will happen with Nico. I wonder if the club will loan him out, but I wouldn't be against going out and buying another fullback to give competition, because every player needs competition. We did bring in Tsimikas to give competition to Robbo. It's been an odd old season for Tsimikas. Nobody has a clue what's going on there, really. And I think Klopp will make the ultimate decision whether he sees Nico Williams as the potential successor or competition for Trent or not. But there is a conversation there to be had about, do we need to bring in somebody to either give Trent an option to be rested, give Klopp an option to move him into midfield at certain times, or just to have an extra good right back in the squad. So I'm not against it. I really am not against it, but it's not to be at the expense of Trent for me, because I think Trent is still learning. It's important to remember he's still a very young fullback, and what he's achieved at such an early age is amazing. He's got a great head on his shoulders, good people around him, and we all love him. But he can improve his defensive side of his game. He'll be aware of that as well. And I think somebody else to come in and give him a little bit more pressure or competition, I don't see anything wrong with that. What have we got? Me too. I think Gary Neville was quite right what he said about Trent. Look, from an England perspective, and let's me be honest about this, I couldn't give a shiny shit about the English national team and the Euros. I could care less. But what I will say is there is an awful lot of good right backs in England at the minute, an awful lot of good full backs. There is. It is a position. Not even right backs. There is just a lot of great young talent for England coming through. So whether it be at right back, midfield or attack, there was a lot of good players coming through, a good generation, a good crop of youngsters. So Southgate has got a lot of tools at his disposal. So, not my place to talk about the English national team. I only want to concentrate on Trent for Liverpool, and we play in a way that usually gets the best out of Trent. Gomez can play right back, yeah, but he's better at centre back. I mean, at right back he can offer us something, but he's just better. He's better as a centre back. Caught a bit too much ball watching at times for me when he was a right back, but yeah, you're right, he can play there, but he's been built and has moulded into and has grown into, physique wise, a centre back for me. So I think that's where Gomez's future should be. Wouldn't be surprised if Trent didn't go to the Euros, but I still think he will. So Laura's H14. Honestly, as I said, mate, a lot of people watching obviously do care about that because you're English, and no problem, but I couldn't give a shite if he goes to the Euros or not. In fact, from a selfish perspective, I'd rather he got the rest. But for him and his confidence and his ambitions to play for his country, I will want what's best for Trent, absolutely. If Southgate doesn't take Trent to the Euros, that's a shocking decision. Again, not really for me to say, not something I care too much about. If we do sign a right back, who should it be? I'll be absolutely honest, mate. I haven't given it much thought, because it only really came into my head after the Real Madrid game, the real lack of competition, because we knew Nico was there. We knew, Fabinho that could play at right back in a pinch if we needed it. Somebody pointed out Gomez could play either full back position. So it's not something that I've really given much thought to, but I certainly will over the coming days, and I'll get back to you on that one. What's your centre-back order for next season if we buy Kabak? Are we buying Kanade in the same conversation? What we'll see next season start with, I'm pretty certain of, if they're both fit, is Gomez and Van Dijk. I'm almost certain of it. Kabak, I think then, and Kanade will be brought up to speed a bit more if Kanade comes in. But you will see rotation, of course, and different centre backs maybe for a different game or different opposition. But I think the starting two will still be Gomez and Van Dijk if both are fit. But then again, Kanade comes in, and if he continues to develop, because there are aspects of his game. He gives away the ball a lot in his short passing range. I was looking into his stats and stuff. He's good at carrying the ball forward. That final passing decision of his can sometimes get him caught out and leave Leipzig caught on the counter. But he also can protect the ball well before he distributes that pass. He can go past the player. So there are aspects of Kanade's game that need to be improved. But as a 21-year-old centre-back, that's only natural. I'd rather sign Kanade, Neto, Tielemans than Mbappe. Tielemans, I've been a bit unsure of Tielemans. As I've said, I've seen him play amazingly well, and he has stepped it up this season. But Leicester don't sell players cheap, so I think there's a better option there than Tielemans if you're looking to buy. Neto, I've no problem with coming in, mate. I'm a fan of Pedro Neto, and Canade, no problem. But when I talk about Mbappe, it's only if Salah was to move on, or Mane, but Salah being the more likely. That's it. Other words, we're talking about a summer where the players you've listed, other than Tielemans, in my opinion, are entirely realistic. What do I think of Musialowski? Excuse me. He got goal of the month, didn't he? Nicked it off Mohamed Salah. Looks a great young talent, the young Polish forward. But again, you don't want to put too much pressure on those young shoulders. Right, look, ladies and gentlemen, I have to leg it. I'm going to go straight over to Mundo Sporto now to do a watch-along of Granada's game against Manchester United in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. I'll be back on here tomorrow, and don't forget to keep an eye out for the Aston Villa preview video that'll be dropping as well. So there is a link right at the top of the live chat right now if you want to come over to our sister channel, Mundo Sporto, to join me for a watch-along of United's quarterfinal of the Europa League. And after that, I will be back here on Saturday, of course, as well, for a watch-along of the Villa game. Thank you for tuning in, folks. Love to know your thoughts on the Salah situation and the potential Mbappe dream in the comment section below. Meant no disrespect to anybody. I tried to be as open and honest as I could, as always. Love to each and every one of you. Take care. Look after your